Hi, everybody. Welcome to the Berklee webinar series. I'm Damian Bracken, Dean of Admissions, and
From
I'm
President
delighted
Trump.
to be here today with the Woodwind Department Chair, Walter Smith, and some of his guest faculty. Walter, over to you.
Hi, everybody. I see you all kind of populating the room here. Thanks for being here. I know that many of you were in our Q&A last week that we did with the admissions, and thank you for returning. You can see on the screen, this is some of our faculty. And as I mentioned last week, they've all done some recordings that we'll play, and I'll give them each a second to talk to you and answer any questions you might have about uh, from their point of view about some of the things they do in their classes, private instruction. And if you could put those questions through Q&A, I'll kind of moderate back and forth with them. One thing I do want to just mention here in the beginning, because I have gotten a lot of emails from people since that last meeting about your incoming student audition, just to go through a couple of those aspects one more time, just to be clear about it. Your prepared piece can be anything you want. It's something that don't have to worry about taking into consideration what the piece shows. Don't try to pick something that you think is really impressive if it doesn't really showcase what you feel are your best attributes. So it can be anything. A lot of people have asked me if it could be original music. That's totally fine. Whatever you want to do, that's what you go with. Improvisation will be required if you're not someone that improvises or you have little experience. Don't worry about it. We just want to hear something. So they'll give you a backing track, and you'll play along with that, a 12-bar blues. So even if you don't know anything about it, we still want to hear you do something. If your piece that you prepare is something that involves improvisation, maybe we don't need to ask you for more. So that's kind of where that falls. Sight reading. This is one of the things that I've gotten a lot of questions about. You'll be sent some materials before your audition, but those are not the materials that you'll be using for sight reading. They're just examples of things that you could work on to practice your reading in advance of the audition. But when you come into the audition, you'll be presented with something that you will have not seen before. So it will actually be sight reading through a screen share scenario here virtually. And if there are questions about that, just let me know and I can be a little more specific. And then beyond that, I know on the page it says there's ear training and all this scales, all that kind of stuff. Those things are kind of not specific to every audition. A lot of what we need in terms of that, we can get from hearing you play your prepared piece. If there's a need to hear something technical, like a couple scales, or to maybe ask something about chord scale relationship or an arpeggio, we'll ask you that in that scenario, but it's mainly for where we're going to place you with ensembles as your first semester, coming in as your first semester. Okay, so just to clarify some of those things, there's not going to be any ear training. I know that's listed there, but that doesn't get asked as part of it. So if there's anything else with that, again, you have my email. I'll put it in. Actually, I gave it to you last time, but I will put it somewhere, maybe in the Q&A. I'll respond to something with my email so you can have it there. But it's wsmith and the number 4 at berklee.edu. Okay. All right. So without further ado, why don't we get on to the reason we're here? I want you all to meet some of the faculty. You can see them here, and I'll kind of go through one by one and introduce them and play some of their music for you. And I'm just going to go in the order that I can see them on my screen. So first up on my screen is Sarpai Ozchaitai. How's that?
Hello. Yeah, it was really good.
Man, it only took me a year, but I'm there. So this is Sarpai, and he is one of our professors in the Woodwind department. He teaches, well, I'll let him tell you a little bit more about what he teaches, but if you have questions, again, the Q&A is open. Go ahead and put your questions there, and I'll kind of throw them at Sarpai. And if you have anything you want to say up front, Sarpai, go for it. Then I'll play your video, and then if questions are there, we'll kind of follow up with you.
Sure thing. Hello, everybody. As Walter said, my name is Sarpai, and I work at the Woodwind department. I'm a flutist. I mainly teach flute. However, I also teach improvisation techniques for many instruments, such like saxophone, clarinet. Uh, I even actually had a bamboo flute student once. And I also teach improvisation labs and electric wind instrument lab as well. So I'm pretty much actively serving for many instruments at the department. I'm originally a Turkish, but residing in the country for the past 11 years. And if you have any questions in regards to what I do during the classes, please go and ask.
All right, cool. So here is Sarpai's version of Herbie Hancock song, Actual Proof. All right. So again, thank you, Star Pie, for sharing that. If anyone has questions for him specifically or anything related to what you just saw there, Q&A is the play. There's currently only one question there. How does declaring a major work? Um, in your second semester, you will declare a major. So the first semester is pretty much scripted for all of you. And in your second semester, you will need to make sure that you do declare because you will start your major in your third semester. And that's standard across the college. There are a couple majors that require an audition. For instance, in the performance division, if you wanted to declare performance, you would have to take an audition in order to be accepted into the major. And it's, even though I'm telling you second semester is where you declare, there are certain majors where you have a lot of prerequisites, and there are actually courses that you need to take during the semester, the second semester, in order to make it into the major for the third semester. So one thing that's really important regarding anything you're thinking about with a major or anything like that is to talk to your academic advisor, seek out the chair of the major that you're interested in. Each major has a chair, so film scoring has its own chair that can help you and tell you what you need to do in preparation, MP&E, all that stuff. You can also find more info on the berklee.edu site, looking at just in the search whatever the major is you're thinking about and search the grid. So for instance, performance, search performance major grid, and it will show you the complete lineup of all the credits and what semester you need to take those things in to stay on track, because our goal is to get you in and out. Even though we love to have you, we don't want you to be here longer than you need to be, so you can get out there and start doing what it is you're going to do. All right, so that covers the Q&A so far. So let's move to the next person on my screen, which I have Barbara Lafitte, who is one of our professors. She is an oboe professor at Berklee College of Music. She's involved in a lot of things. I'm looking for you to unmute. There you go.
There.
But I'll throw it over to her now.
All right. Hi, everybody. I represent sort of the classical side, but also reaching forward into whatever you want to do. So, a little bit about me is that I studied in Philadelphia with Lou Rosenblatt, who was in the Philadelphia Orchestra. And if that means anything to you, it's just like the mecca of oboe. Oboe is Philadelphia. But we've now all branched out and we are scattered here in Boston as well, the Tabito legacy. I've been in the Boston Pops Esplanade Orchestra for 26 years and also principal oboe in the Boston Ballet for the same amount of time. And so I've worked with a lot of awesome people, awesome, anywhere from John Williams a number of times um, to Demi Lovato and Kenny Loggins, and you just name it. I've played behind all these people. But my goal for you as a teacher is to find your niche. So I give you foundational training. Besides teaching oboe, I also teach anybody who wants to learn more about phrasing. In the classical tradition, in the tableau tradition, I teach. So I've had flutes, clarinets, oboes, saxophones. We'll work on detailed phrasing. That's my big thing. Let's see. I also teach an audition workshop, which, of course, right now is super important to be able to make a good audition presentation and how to do an audition. Um, let's see. I have the phrasing lab. I have an ensemble where you can write for whoever registers for the ensemble. I call it Fahrenheit 402, but it's the Contemporary Chamber Ensemble. So it's a hodgepodge of instruments, and we come up with some awesome music. It's a good place to practice your skills with real live music. And let's see, we have a woodwind ensembles. I run the film scoring orchestra when that runs. I help start the Berklee Contemporary Orchestra. Let's see, and yeah, ask me any questions about doubling, about phrasing, about auditions, and I'm your resource.
All
So,
right, great. Here comes Barbara's video. This is, if I'm remembering correctly, it's one of the furlings, right?
yeah,
Okay. Which one? 9?
number
10?
9.
Oh
Number
man, my memory. Still there. Okay, here's Barbara Lafitte, Furling number 9.
Thank you.
Very nice. All right, we've got a few questions here. Let me see. Barbara, since you're still up, in the Fahrenheit 402 class, do all the students compose their own pieces for everyone to play?
Yes. Yes. Yeah. So we'll know like usually a week or two in advance what the instrumentation is, and then you can start writing. Even then, it can be a short piece, 2-minute duet. So you learn to understand what really works for each instrument. So we've had bassoon, oboe, violet, all the strings. We've had saxophone, brass, anything you can imagine, percussion. And some of those students are going on in their master's degrees in composition because of these little seeds that they got to practice on early in their school career.
All right. This next one, if you're declaring a film scoring major, can you still join the film scoring studio orchestra if you pass the ensemble rating?
I'd like to address that because running the film scoring orchestra, I what we've done in the past is that you send in it works outside of the ratings auditions. Um, so you just simply send a video to me. We only run that film scoring orchestra in the fall semester. It's postponed this fall. But then you send your audition tape to me of a classical piece, and then I will recommend you for the ensemble. This film scoring is a 3-course collaborative between film scoring, production and engineering to learn how to record an orchestra and film scoring. So They choose 6 students to be the composers for that, composer conductors. And so every week we just sight read cues. So we need people who have good fundamentals and good sight reading. And so that you can, if you're in the film scoring major, it's a perfect orchestra for you because you get to work with. We bring in people. BMI Day, we've brought in Harry Gregson Williams and Howard Shore and people like that you'll get to work with. So it's really an exciting program.
All right. Thank you, Barbara. Let's see. Can classically trained musicians pursue jazz? Yes.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So even I don't call myself a jazz player, but I do play a lot of free improv. And I do have a fusion ensemble that's based on the music of Paul McCandless, Ralph Towner, jazz oboe players all over the world, and encourage you to explore that kind of thing. And I know, well, Sharpai, you were classically trained. Yes, so yeah.
Absolutely. I graduated from a classical conservatory, and I have 15, 16 years long as a professional classical flutist, and then I changed my career. I'm also an alumni of Berklee, and then where I got my jazz degree. But it's possible.
And then I would like to add, we've kind of been in a mode of adding new stuff to our curriculum, and one of the classes, I think we've added 8 new labs within the department for this year. Some of them we're going to postpone for a year, but one of those, which will run next fall, is called, I don't want to say the wrong title because the title was really nice. Something about jazz for the classically trained musician. It's not something about, that's not part of the title. It's something though about jazz for the classically trained musician, and that'll be a great lab taught by one of our faculty, Shannon LeClaire. But yes, the whole point of Berklee is about learning a lot about every kind of style, and that's if you're a performance major or not. This will touch on one of these other questions that's here. Can you choose the professor you want to study with in the first semester, and who should I email? So in the first semester, I, as the chair, assign you to a teacher. There is a space for you to add if you have a preference of a professor you'd like to study with, but there are a lot of things that go into that. The registration process gives preference to the older students because they've been there and they may need classes, or they may have been waiting to study with a certain person. So by the time you all will audition, I'll be looking at the available slots, what you need to work on based on your entering student audition, your preference, all these different things. So you can give me your preference if you have something, and I will definitely try to make that happen if it will work for your schedule. But it doesn't always work, so I don't want to make any promises to any of you about that, but it's likely that it will happen. After the first semester, you all are free to study with whoever you want, and no matter what degree you do, you will take 4 semesters of lessons. So you have time to stay with one person for 2 full years, or you can bounce around, whatever you kind of feel your interests are taking you. All right, let's see. This next thing, who is the bass clarinet professor? Well, funny you should ask, because the next video that I'm going to play for you is from our clarinet professor, who is not able to make it here today because he's teaching one of the summer programs that we have here at Berklee, which I believe a lot of you have been a part of, which is the 5-week program. His name is Harry Scholar. He's been at Berklee for a very long time, and he did make a video of himself playing an old standard called For All We Know. So here's that. All right. So that is Professor Harry Scholar, who, as I mentioned, he's not here today with us, but he did make a video for you all to see. Let's see if anything popped up here. What is the exact date of the audition? I don't have that information for you yet. All this stuff is kind of in flux with all the new guidelines that have been given to us and then rescinded and all kind of things. So you'll have that information soon and in plenty of time to prepare for it. But as long as what you're working on now is your prepared piece and going through some scales, just your normal practice routine, you'll be ready for it. And remember that the audition is purely for your ensemble placement, and however you're rated with that audition, you have an opportunity to take that audition every semester if you want to raise those numbers to get into certain ensembles. Okay, let's see. Where can we get Professor Smith's email to send him our teacher's preferences? So you don't have to email me about that. I'll give you my email, but don't everybody just email your teacher preferences. When you do your audition, the people that audition you will ask who you want to, if you have a preference of any teacher, and they'll mark it in the form for you. So when I'm going to schedule you, I'll see all that information. But again, my information is W Smith, so WSMITH, and then the number 4. So WSmith4 at berklee.edu. All right. Last question before we move on. Are there classes or ensembles for those interested in woodwind doubling? Yes. Both in our department and through the music ed department, but they're housed with us. So there's flute doubling, which actually I'll put this to our next professor, Professor Wendy Rolfe, who does cover one of those classes.
Thank you, Walter, and welcome to all our incoming students. It's great that you set up this webinar, Damian Bracken and Walter Smith. My name is Wendy Rolfe. I've been at Berklee for a very long time. Barbara gave us a little about her background. My undergraduate degree is in flute performance from Oberlin Conservatory, and then I did a master's and doctorate at Manhattan School of Music, mostly focusing on contemporary techniques. I also had studied with Marcel Moïse and done many master classes with Jean-Pierre Rampal, one of the famous French flutists. I play in quite a few orchestras. I play historical flutes, Baroque flute, and historical classical flute in the USA and internationally, and also I play piccolo in the Cape Symphony. In the lessons I give, like all of us, I think, I teach a variety of styles. I work a lot on sound and technique. I teach a lot of classical repertoire from Baroque to Romantic to contemporary extended techniques. I also play a lot of Brazilian music, especially Brazilian chorals. I go to Brazil and Ecuador and Costa Rica and Peru a fair amount. I even had a Baroque flute student on the one-key Baroque flute. I also prepare students for auditions. I know quite a few students want to do summer programs, so we do work on orchestral repertoire and orchestral excerpts so they can audition for ensembles like the Film Scoring Orchestra or the Berklee Contemporary Symphony Orchestra that Barbara told you about. And also I prepare students for grad school auditions. I know we all do that, but I've been doing quite a lot of that recently. I teach the flute choir. Another advanced woodwind ensemble. We play a variety of repertoire from Baroque up through contemporary. A lot of students arrange and write for the ensembles. We actually do quite a lot of Latin music. And also I take my students to play outreach concerts for senior citizens. We have a flute repertoire class, which is like a master class, and I have a doubling lab for anybody. I've had percussionists, trombone players, pianists, clarinetists, saxophonists to learn to play the flute. So there's so many performance opportunities at Berklee, the wind ensemble, the orchestras, the recording orchestras. The recording that I just made was my first attempt at an iMovie. Some of the music is from Images of Eve, a recording I made a few years ago, music by women, written by women. And I showing you some of my historical and modern flutes. And then there are a few photos of some of our student performances. The pieces at the beginning and end and on the third flute I'll play are written by Yun Chung, who was a film scoring major from Berklee. She graduated 2011. She's from Taiwan. So I'm happy to answer any questions afterwards. And thank you. This is a boxwood copy of a Renaissance flute from around the year 1600. I'll be playing Vief Brangie, an anonymous Dutch tune. The great Brazilian flutist, saxophonist, and composer Pixinguinha wrote this piece called Ingenuo. It's in the choro style. My students love to play choros, and we often perform these in the Berklee Flute Choir. I will finish with the Chinese Kudi or Ditzi. I commissioned this piece, which is called Jin Wen, from a Berklee film scoring alumna, the Taiwanese composer Yun Chung.
All right. Thank you, Wendy. Damien, I do have a quick question for you. Are we right at an hour
Yeah,
as
we
far as
need to
time?
finish by 2. Yeah.
Okay. All right. Well, let's keep it moving. There are no questions in the bank at the moment, and it wasn't planned this way, but now it's saxophone till the end. Okay. So moving to the next person on my screen, this is Professor Edmar Cologne, who is an alumnus of the department as well, like Sarpai and myself, actually, and maybe everyone in this, I don't know. But this is Edmar, so Edmar, why don't you take it, and then I'll throw your video on.
Hello, everyone. Thank you for having me. It's great to see, not to see you all, but it's great that you're here. And I teach saxophone and 2 ensembles at Berklee. Like Walter said, I did go to Berklee 2020 to 2010 to 2015, and then I did my master's there as well in classical composition and performance of the saxophone as well. And the department I teach the saxophone and as well a class that is starting up this fall called African Rhythms and the Saxophone. And sort of my syntaxis, if you will, of teaching is trying to teach each student how they can become a better musician themselves without the instrument, and then pass that to the instrument, right? So that's why I really focus on rhythm and developing the ears and talking about composition, talking about harmony, so we can develop ourselves and then pass that to the instrument. It's a really important thing for me to talk to all my students. And yeah, I know we're running a little short on time, so I think if you have any questions for me, I'd love to answer them. And yeah, I hope to see you all soon.
All right.
Gigi.
Something came in, I think maybe inspired by your performance in the Q&A. Not a question, but I'm glad to see you're all safe and healthy. Super grateful to hear you all today. So thank you, Ray. We appreciate that. Great.
Thank you.
Thanks. Thanks, Edmar. All right. In the interest of time, just going to keep pushing through here. We've got two more faculty to present to you today. And next on my screen is the man himself, Mr. George Garzone. I'm sure many of you know George through his playing and his affiliation with Berklee and every other school in the world, but most importantly, Berklee. So without further ado, here's George Garzone.
Thanks, Will. Hi, gang. How you doing? I look forward to seeing you all in September. I know it's kind of a crucial moment in life, but for me to hear all of my fellow teachers, you guys and girls sound tremendous. I'm like, wow, blown away. Okay, so I've been saying this for the last year. I've been at Berklee for 45 years now, and I studied strictly under the guidance of Joe Viola, which I credit a lot of what I do because of his teaching. And he was really instrumental in teaching like a Buddha, teaching without teaching, which is what I do. I co-led and still leading the group, The Fringe, for almost the last 50 years. And I developed a triadic chromatic approach, which is something I came up with on my own because of teaching so many students that were good. A lot of them that are here today, like Walter, people come in and they can play almost or as well as you can. So I had to go in and figure out something that was a little bit over their head. So that's when I came up with a triadic chromatic approach, Edmar. So I look forward to seeing you all. My things I work on, these guys know, sound structure, having a sound when you play. To me, that's the most important thing, sound, not over-articulating and just making beauty out of what you do when you play music. After that, it's up to you. So that's about it for me. Thank you.
Yeah.
Very cool. All right. Let's see here. Thank you, George. There are two questions here that I'll take very quickly, and then we have just enough time to play the last video. For our audition, is it okay to play a piece with accompaniment without, or do we need to find an accompanist? You can play by yourself, or you can play with a backing track. Most people play with a backing track, but you will not play with a live accompanist unless someone in your house does that. Let's see, and is the course organized to learn different musical styles to play on? I'm not sure if you could clarify that, if we can get to it before this ends, or just email me and I'll answer that. I want to thank all the faculty for being here. I want to thank all of you for being here, incoming students, and feel free to reach out to us about anything that comes up. We appreciate seeing you here today. And the final video that we'll play for the day is by Professor Lance Van Linton here, who plays all the saxophones. He teaches a lot of our Barry players. I'll let him tell you a little more briefly about the Barry project he had this year.
Actually, I have a 20-minute speech I like to make before I start. No, but I'll make this really fast. I teach all the saxes and flute, and I try to give my students everything I can and have a lot of fun and prepare you for your exams and your life at Berklee. So I know you don't have a lot of time, so I'm looking forward to seeing people at the school and online. And Walter, I'll let you take it away.
Yeah, Lance.
Beautiful.
Beautiful.
All right.
Yeah.
You all are in luck because we don't have time for me to share my video with you.
Oh,
So
do
you're
it.
spared.
Ah.
Well,
Ah.
Go ahead
that
and
is
share
all
it,
the-
Walter. We can
Come
run
on.
over.
Well, I only said that. I only admitted that I had one because I thought we didn't have time. Well, okay, so there are no more questions, so I'll just leave you with this. It's just a random project put together based on kind of what we're going through here with adapting some classic artwork to reflect our time. So with that, I'll leave you and thank you again for being here.
Thanks, everybody.
Thanks.
Thank you.
All right.
Awesome.
Beautiful.
Thanks, everybody.
Wow, that was great.
Yeah,
All right.
man,
Thank you
beautiful.
all.
I have mine
And
on. I have mine on now.
perfect.
Nice.
Perfect. All right. Have a good rest of your day. And we look forward to seeing you in September. Again, my email, wsmith4 at berkeley.edu. Please let me know if you have any questions. And yeah, we look forward to seeing you very soon. Thanks, everybody.
Thanks,
Thank
everyone.
you.
Thank you.
Bye.
Thank you.
Bye bye.
Well.
Bye.